everyone. Today we have our another new episode and we will discuss on AR and VR. We have our world famous speaker, Mr. David Smith, and Dr. Tamanna Khosla. Mr. David Smith, what you want to discuss about AR and VR? You know, World Talent Economy Forum, we are launching our business incubations in Dubai next week. Also, we are moving in China, Australia, and definitely, Dr. Tamanna, we have a plan to visit the area like in the Gujarat. So hopefully all of your contribution will be helpful for the global communities. And with our dialogue, with our real research, and with our real action, we can bring a lot of success
Doc,
and progress for humanity. Now I request
Doctor,
Mr. David Smith.
Dr. Sharif, what did you say about India?
We are planning to launching our business incubation in India.
Okay, wonderful.
Mr. David Smith.
All right, Dr. Sharif, let me begin a little bit. And I guess I should start with saying uh, what are the differences between VR, which is virtual reality, and AR, which is augmented reality. And virtual reality is a fully generated digital world that really takes over your vision and your environment from your external environment. You may be sitting in an office, in a classroom, in a living room, but when you're in your VR headset, you could be anywhere. You could be in outer space, another planet. You could be in a race car. You could be at a meeting with coworkers. And really, it's the virtual reality is kind of like the name says. You're in a virtual world of virtual reality there, and you see headsets like the PlayStation VR2 and the Meta Quest 2 headsets are fairly good, but they are not as immersive as what we saw in, for example, the science fiction movie world of Ready Player One, which was one of the most immersive virtual reality uh, environments I have seen. Um, Virtual reality headsets have a built-in screen and uses lenses to send to each of your eyes a slightly different picture. There's also sensors built in to track your head, your movement. Some virtual reality now has things that will track your hands, your motion, and some of the newer virtual reality are even including things like smell and being able to help enhance that. Uh, so what they do is they create the impression that you're surrounded by a three-dimensional reality, and that as you uh, move your head, as you move in it, you can manipulate things. Uh, Traditionally, in full virtual reality, though, they're usually combined with hand controllers, so that help you manipulate virtual objects and others like that. Augmented reality, AR, is really combining a virtual level on top of the real world. So instead of being totally immersed in a computer generated digital surrounding, you mostly see the real world with a few virtual additions. It can be anything from pop up notices and directions to where you're going, or as much as one of my favorite ones uh, at a demo I was attending with one of the AI companies here in Austin. They are using augmented reality and their artificial intelligence to help people in very remote locations repair jet engines. Uh, Many of them who've never worked on a jet engine that complex. So that is where you see them. Um, there are in uh, particularly the commercial uses, you see augmented reality goggles, kind of like the Microsoft HoloLens, that overlay your field of views of view. Uh, a lot of augmented reality is accessed through smartphones today at the consumer side. But I can tell you, augmented reality is really a great application. The old game Pokemon Go is probably one of the best examples for the consumer side of phone-based augmented reality. The app uses your smartphone camera to display your surrounding and overlays it with the characters. And you see other ones like places where you can use augmented reality to go into, for example, furniture stores like IKEA Place that allows you to place their furniture in your home. Uh, Apple Measure app, it allows you to use an AR approach to measure the length of real world objects. Uh, Another augmented reality that I love is seeing it being used in real estate, seeing it be used in healthcare, particularly surgery, as a tool to help surgeons do more complicated surgeries and have them have the data displayed uh, in real time to them without having to turn away from the surgery field and look at other instruments in the operating room. One of the others that I like is when they were building the Gigafactory not far from me here in Austin, they were using augmented reality to be able to visualize, for example, the electricians or the plumbers putting in compressed air and other things, the actual pieces of equipment where the electrical circuits and the compressed air circuits and the vacuums and everything were going to go so that they could do a better job of making sure the outlets and things were in the correct place. AR and VR has a couple of other variations to it. One of them is called MR or mixed reality, even though it's not really as widely accepted as AR or VR. Essentially, what they also have is VR goggles like MetaQuest or HoloLens or Apple Vision Pro. They also have forward-facing high-definition cameras that allow them to display real world on the screen. So you can begin to do that. Some of that is particularly being used in real estate today. And you also have some thing which is an extension of that called extended reality or XR, which is a catch-all term for virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality. And it really is not really well defined, and a lot of people are using it kind of as catch-all terms. And we see a lot of it going. But just to kind of give you a feel, in 2022, the augmented reality market size was about $39 billion in the United States. If I begin to go up and look at more of the world around it, the compound annual growth rate of the VR and AR and mixed reality world is going to be around a growth rate of about 39%. And again, a US market segment this year of $11.96 billion. And the United States is the leading revenue generator in this market. But we're beginning to see it dramatically expand, and the market penetration is going up, particularly in markets like education, manufacturing, healthcare, and many others. Yes, it's also used in entertainment, where virtual reality has the largest market share there. And we're seeing it beginning to spread dramatically around the world. So, Dr. Sharif, I think that's not a bad introduction.
Thank you, Dr. Tamanna.
Yes, so augmenting reality, which is AR, is the integration of digital information with the user's environment in real time, Unlike virtual reality, which creates a totally artificial environment, AR users experience a real world experience with generated perceptual information overlaid on top of it. Augmented reality is used to either visually change natural environment in some ways or to provide additional information to the users. The primary benefit of AR is that it manages to blend digital and three-dimensional components with an individual's perception of the real world. AR has variety of uses from helping decision making to entertainment. So, AR delivers visual elements, sounds, and sensory information to the users through a device like smartphone or glasses. This information is overlaid onto the device to create a better picture of whatever is meant to be. Sophisticated AI programs used by military for training can also include machine vision. So it can be used in military as well. Object recognition and gesture recognition. AR can be computer naturally intensive, so if a device lacks processing power, data processing can be offloaded to a different machine. Augmented reality apps are written in special 3D programs that enable developers to tie animation or text contextual digital information in the computer program to an augmented reality marker in the real world. So, uh, now, for example, AR can be used in following ways. First is retail. Consumers can use a store online app to see how products such as furniture will look in their homes before buying. Entertainment and gaming. AR can be used to overlay a virtual game in the real world or enable users to animate their faces in different and creative ways on social media. So PUBG, for example, the major famous uh, game which was very popular amongst the young people. So yeah, navigation. AR can be used to overlay a route to the user's destination over a live view of a road. AR used for navigation can also display information about local businesses in the user's immediately surroundings. Tools and measurements. Mobile devices can use AR to measure different 3D points in the user's environment. Architecture. AR can help architects visualize a building project. Military. Data can be displayed on a vehicle's windshield that indicates destination direction, distances, weathers, and road conditions. Archaeology is another place. So AR has aided archaeological research by helping archaeologists reconstruct sites. 3D models also help museum visitors and future archaeologists experience an extravagant site as if they were there. So examples of AR. The Target Retail app feature called See It Your Space enables users to take a photo of a space in their home and digitally view an object like a picture on the wall or chair. Snapchat, Pokemon Go, Google Glass. Google Glass is Google's first commercial attempt at glass-based AR system. This small wearable computer enables users to work hard hand-free. Companies use DHL and DB Center using Google Glass and third-party software to enable frontline workers to be more efficient. So, future of AI technology is very bright. It can be used in space, etc. And AR technology continues to grow as the popularity and familiarization of apps and games like Pokemon Go or retail store AR apps increase. The expansion of 5G networks may make it easier to support cloud based augmented reality experiences, for example, by proving AR applications with higher data speed and low latency. Thank you. These are my opening remarks.
Dr. David Smith.
Um, Sharif, thank you again. The AR VR field is having tremendous impact. Some of the greatest impact will be actually in the developing world versus the developed world, because where there is lack of infrastructure and the ability to build advanced, costly facilities such as immersion rooms and others like that, which are extremely powerful. The opportunity for entrepreneurship is great in the areas where VR and AR have their place and can be well utilized in different ways. The science and education that is needed in this area is very good at this point. The advances, particularly in haptics, which is getting feel and other things to be used in both AR and VR, is an area that still a lot of additional research and development need to be done. The opportunities to use particularly augmented reality are great. I was with my son trying to work on his truck, and I would have loved to have had an augmented reality set of glasses with me, where we kept going back and reading manuals. We went and looked at some YouTubes of people doing the work and then went back. But it was a translation process where if I could have done that in augmented reality and overlaid those with what we were actually doing, it would have gone much faster, and probably we would have done a better job as well. One of the big places where virtual reality is beginning to have an impact is something that, like Dr. Sharif, in your part of the world, in Bangladesh and in Thailand and Malaysia and others there, is the use of virtual reality in the tourism, in the hospitality industry. The ability to, when you're there, to go and look at the high points of the region, the city, the country, the ability to preview trips in virtual reality so that you will go and do the trips in real life is one that is advancing tremendously. I was on a cruise ship months ago, and a couple of the destinations we were able to on the cruise ship actually look at in virtual reality and make a decision on whether we wanted to take that tour or not. And it was a great tool for helping us decide as well. Education, big one. One of the companies that we were visiting with about 5 or 6 months ago has a program where they take virtual reality headsets into schools in a traveling case. They get the kids into a gymnasium and they put the headsets on them. And what they do is they let the kids walk through outer space and discover the planets, zoom into the planets, and do a lot of activities like that together. And that works really exceedingly well. I love to see that used and being applied. The other area where I think you're going to see these technologies come into place, Sharif, is particularly in basic job training. The ability to use these immersive technologies to help people train for additional factory jobs, manufacturing jobs, to help them train to be better graphics artists, to be better managers, to be used in understanding advanced education, really is going to be a game-changing activity there. And through virtual reality, you have the ability to bring in master teachers to wide groups, but have it in an immersive environment. Now, I have listened to master teachers through just video conferencing, and it's so easy to get distracted, to go do other things. But when you begin to do it in virtual reality, those distractions tend to go away. And the studies that have been done actually have shown that the learning content dramatically goes up when you are delivering that type of message in a virtual reality environment. And it is one that I can see being used tremendously well. Also, you begin to see some others. For example, a couple of months ago, in July, I think it was, Apple released a new immersive deep field augmented reality app for students. Uh, it is a app that runs on an iPad that really teaches the students in a very deep view. And, Apple released about that time something also called Apple Vision Pro, which is a spatial operating system that lets users interact with digital content in a very high resolution mode. You're seeing many others come out like that. And again, you see it in many different parts. The market is made up, though, of the displays, the application, the components that go into those, and then, of course, the content. And you're seeing all of that going up. The other place I think you're going to see more and more of augmented reality, particularly, is going to be in the retail space and the e-commerce space, where you can begin to see what's happening. You can more and more try on the things, see how the furniture looks, walk through a house that you're considering buying or renting. And those are places that I think will change some of the market holdings that you see there. And there are just so many drivers. You're seeing the pieces working in very different ways. And that's going to be a game changer as you look at there. All right. What is part of the other side of this? Sharif, on your broadcast, we have talked also about the metaverse. And the metaverse is not happening as fast as many people thought it could be. In fact, many people say, and right now it's hype, but we're seeing advances still on that. Virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality are all part of what the metaverse can be. And that is one thing that I think you're going to see used very broadly in the future. The, the concept of free movement is getting better as the cameras get higher resolution, as they get smaller, as you begin to see the ability to translate high resolution 3D images out of our imaging now. That's going to make particularly augmented reality become more widespread and move faster. But it is a dynamic field that has a lot of people captivated by it and a lot of interest, and is one that we've passed the point of market acceptance, and we're now going into the areas where we're seeing what is the potential future market going forward. So, Dr. Sharif, I think that's what I can say right now.
Yes, so I guess Dr. Sharif, VR and AR can help in education and training, especially in the developing world, because there is what many. I mean, I have many friends in Africa, for example, and they are like wanting to learn more, and they have resources which are much less, and internet connections are less. So I guess developed world should help them develop these technologies, which would help them in a big way. And so India is also doing its own bit in this regard, and it's helping many Africans. I'm trying myself to give lectures on several areas which can help African my friends in Africa, for example. So yeah, healthcare is another area. The UK National NHS commissioned a study to determine the value of VR in educative hospital frontline staff. 92% of VR participants trained in infection control measures were found to have adequate understanding compared to only 16% of the control group. Post-training performance increased by more than 230% of VR for the VR group compared to 16.75% for the control group. So, medical specialties in the UK have also used AR technologies to manage COVID-19 positive patients, reducing COVID-19 exposure of health staff by 51.5%. So that's the importance of VR technology. And urban development, another area. Numerous cities are creating digital twins to improve operational efficiencies and urban planning. Singapore has created a digital twin, Virtual Singapore, that lets users, I guess countries need to contribute. I mean, if we want peace in the world right now, we cannot hide our technologies from others. We have to share them. And it's a world which is like for all of us. So for example, any country which is wanting to go to space should be helped by other countries, and I mean, obviously, that technologies are strictly maneuvered, and they're like kept secret by many countries. So at least areas where the more the better, I mean, as much as possible, if people are able to share technologies and help poorer nations, we'll have a much better world. Because for example, their brains and our brains, our cultural setup, everything is totally different, our eating styles are different, so it produces a different kind of a nature. So I mean, I don't want to use the word race, for example. I don't want to use it in a negative way. But what I'm trying to say is that, different countries can have different way of looking at things. So technology can help every country, developing countries, to contribute themselves in the area of technology once VR and AR are used in these countries. So yeah, so what should developing countries be considering? How can developing countries take advantage of emerging future? Initially, they can use immersive technologies in education and training. Teachers can be exposed to immersive training in teacher training institutions. Students can be encouraged to create educational content on gaming platforms. Similarly, healthcare professionals can be better trained using immersive technologies. The metaverse can also optimize urban development. The future of architectural design will converge with virtual worlds as new shapes, experiences, functions, and aesthetic means for designing environments become possible. Cities in developing countries could experiment with redesigning environment, including slums, with the help of architects. So, slums is another problem which India faces. Bangladesh faces a lot of that problem. So I mean, somewhere in architecture and shaping up of slums in a way, these technologies can help us a lot. So yeah, and more importantly, developing countries could consider national strategies on digital twins, which will become the building blocks for metaverse in the future. The UK, the New Zealand, and EU are pursuing policies and initiatives to promote digital twins. The metaverse opportunity can also include into national data ecosystem developing strategies, which have recommended in WDP report data for better lives. Despite its current hype and attendant risks, the metaverse could potentially offer benefits in multiple sectors, including healthcare, education, and urban development, to name a few. Developing countries are well advised to start exploring the potential benefits of the metaverse in preparation and AR and VR for a technology that is likely to gain momentum in the years ahead. Yeah, so back to you.
Mr. David Smith.
I agree with what has been said here, is that there are so many examples where these technologies can be very powerful. One of the areas that I always like to mention, though, is that even using these effectively takes education, because it is a different mindset, particularly when you're combining them with some of the advances in artificial intelligence. One of the companies which I'm associated with in our holding company, we're using 3D AI enhanced conversational language avatars. And these can be used in a virtual environment. And it's very captivating to the students. But you have to design it differently. If I took the same curriculum that was used in an in-person class and just applied to virtual reality, it's going to fail. The attention spans are such that you cannot be in virtual reality and doing heavy work for long periods of time. Augmented reality is easier because you still have that connection with the physical world, the real world. But there's different modalities you have to use within each of those. And I think that is going to be very powerful as you begin to use these. But it does take education. And it does take the abundance to have advances, particularly in computer power, and display technology to make the images more lifelike, higher resolution. One of the trends I'm loving seeing right now in augmented reality is they're beginning to do image recognition as part of the screen. And that image recognition is going to be help that technology move even further down the road. Tamar mentioned, and I've mentioned its use in healthcare and in surgery. Now combine that with image recognition so that you can begin to use it to help identify what you're doing as well as help guide you. Very game changing as we look at that. And yes, augmented reality is being used in the military quite a bit today. Many of the drones which you see flying can be controlled by augmented reality, where you have the drone pilots wearing AR headsets or VR headsets, and they are using that to direct the drones for reconnaissance. They're using it to direct the drones for many different purposes. The same type of drones you're seeing there, though, are used places, for example, in agriculture. One of the biggest game changers I've seen in agriculture is being able to begin to use drones to help find out where the flocks are, to help go and survey the farm, to be able to go and look at how the crops are progressing very rapidly versus spending hours walking through a field and just flying. Another place where I'm seeing more of particularly augmented reality enhanced by drones is in the energy business. Inspecting the infrastructure, the high voltage lines, the remote substations and things are now being very effectively done by using augmented reality goggles combined with the drones to go and do that type of work. So it's making it a lot more productive, a lot more effective. But it just has applicability to so many different marketplaces that we can really do a lot with it. And that's one of the places that most excites me with this topic, is that it has applicability in almost every industry, and it has applicability worldwide. And its uses are not limited to any one demographic. or any one social economical demographic, but it can be used across all of those as a way to enhance the experiences of the human beings and be used in a very powerful way. One of the other places where I've seen some of it is particularly in the emergency space. Uh, I have Texas is an energy state, and we have a lot of particularly offshore oil rigs. And one of the best demonstrations I've seen of some virtual reality is that they have now taken the inside of the offshore oil platforms and they've digitized those, and they have the virtual reality headsets on there which are tied to location. And oftentimes, in an offshore incident, a fire, for example, the smoke is so thick that you cannot see. And they're using this type of virtual reality, augmented reality, as a way to help people get through the smoke to be able, or through the oil and other things gushing, to be able to respond to the crisis at the time. So it's a very, very powerful, powerful tool. Also, we're beginning to see in commercial aviation and other places more airplanes, not just drones, but larger airplanes that are using artificial intelligence and remote pilots to be able to fly them and be able to make a very effective use of expertise and times. Once again, it's the advances we're seeing, particularly in the fusion of AR, VR, and artificial intelligence, and machine vision, and haptic senses, touch, feel, smell, all of those coming together to enhance this technology to be more impactful for society. And Dr. Sharif, that's where I think the future of this, with a market share that's growing between 30 to 40% compound annual growth a year, we can see it's beginning to pick up steam and will be used quite a bit more in the future as the imagination, the creativity of entrepreneurs, of scientists, of even average users picks up. It has a very good upside. So, Dr. Sharif, thank you.
Yeah, so I guess some of the advantages of AR are like it enables individualized learning and enhances the learning process. So it can help children develop their mental abilities a lot, and so can it help the senior citizens of the world to understand uh, what a particular subject is all about, and it depends all about upon the interest of the people, which subject they want to understand. And they can be through AR, for example, political theory can be taught in a way that it can help understand concepts in a better way. Then AR offers a wide range of applications that are continuously being improved. The technology makes it possible to increase accuracy and efficiency. Experience of knowledge can be shared over long distances. So, it can, as we were right now, also, all of us are talking about, developing world being exchanged knowledge with. Now, but there are also several disadvantages of this technology. The cost of implementing AR are comparatively high. So obviously that is why I was saying that it the help is needed for the developing world to develop AR, so so that new technology in healthcare, which is really in a sad situation in many of the developing worlds, can increase, and surgeries, etc. The prices can come down if it's being funded by many of the institutions set up by the Western world. Many devices have a low level of performance, for example. A key disadvantage is lack of user privacy. So privacy is another issue. If the focus on security is neglected, the introduction of augmented reality can lead to security breach. So security breach is another issue. So in practice, augmented reality offers a wide range of possibilities. This makes it interesting in both private and business users. Fading in digital content over real magazine already works well in printing and advertising industry. Users who want to translate text into other languages can use modern translation apps that thanks to AR technology. Then AR in construction and logistics is also an attractive way to increase the efficiency of employees and the business processes. Augmented reality is an easy way to get in touch with customers, colleagues, or technicians. So yeah, so these are the all things which have to be seen, and practical impact of AR will be felt when the whole world is taking cognizance of this particular technology, and everywhere in the world, as the technology increases, this particular aspect is taken care of. And what can happen is that in healthcare, which is in a dismal situation in Africa and South Asia, we can have AR being used in surgeries by doctors, nurses, and they need to be trained by many of the developed world. And with uh, I guess it should be a more of a philanthropic work and impact investment kind of a thing. And because if you see in India, there are a lot of maternal deaths during childbirths, etc. So many of these kind of issues are being taken care by uh, many of the philanthropic organizations like Melinda Gates, etc. So I guess that is the whole thing. Yeah.
Thank you. What's your closing remarks for today?
My closing remarks are that as much as possible, developing world could consider national strategies on digital twins, and as is being done in Singapore. And also the best possible way is the world to share knowledge and not restrict itself from sharing knowledge. And the most important is to develop the world as such. And as much technology is going to be developed, the more economy is going to develop. And so the poverty which the world faces right now is going to be done away with. And poverty is a major problem which Africa faces, so does South Asia. I mean India and Bangladesh face the same. So I don't have any qualms about that. So Pakistan faces the same problems. So South Asia, for example, we have similar problems. So why don't we have SAARC functioning in a good way? I guess SAARC needs to be more powerful so that the tensions between neighbors are lessened, and exchange of technologies are there, so that the principles of wars, etc., terrorism, the suspicion against each other are decreased, and more of the chances of people um, exchanging technologies like VR and AR, and all these things have to be done away with. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining today's session. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye bye and take care.